Oh, hi. I'm Jen, and welcome to my vlog space, and this is Sean.
Hello.
He's helping me out with this vlog because he was helping me out in Utah.
Ooh.
So today we're going to actually talk about our time at the Utah Tap Festival. And I've been to a lot of tap festivals in my entire career, and I wanted to tell you, how this festival compares to other ones, because I know it's kind of new. It's only 5 or 6 years old, I think, or maybe it's older than that. But it's one of the smaller festivals. But when I tell you it was awesome and that you need to go, I mean it. So I wanted to tell you about the festival and all the fun tap dance things that we got to do and all the other fun non-tap dance things we got to do.
Yeah.
And I just thought it'd be fun to do a vlog on it. So here we are. And yeah.
Let's take them on a trip.
A trip. A very, very long flight. It was like a 5-hour flight.
We're just under,
Yeah. I didn't watch any movies the first time because I'm me and I was listening to music the entire time, and I was just like, you probably think I'm the weirdest person because I'm not watching a movie. There's free movies available right in front of your face on this airplane. And I'm like, nah, I just want to listen to music. And he's like, I'm not surprised. It's you. And I'm like, oh,
I
right.
said.
Yeah, what did you watch?
I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I watched something else.
You watched most of Shazam, I think. Shazam
I watched,
2.
Shazam 2.
So that's how we spent the flight. And I don't let him sleep on planes because I'm a nervous flyer. So I make him stay awake with me.
I'm usually asleep before the door even closes. So at least I had movies to watch.
Yeah, sorry. Any other nervous flyers out there, let me know. It's something I'm probably just always gonna be, and it's fine. But the plane shakes a little and I grab his leg, or I'm like...
But she actually did really good this time. We had on the way back we hit more turbulence than we did on the way there, but even when we hit it, she didn't flinch as much as she did last time.
I flinched on the inside.
Inner flinching. I got it.
But yeah, so we actually ended up on a plane that offered 0 peanut snacks. So I was fine because I don't know if you guys knew, but I'm allergic to peanuts. So every time I fly, I'm like, is there a chance I'm gonna get cross-contaminated? I don't know. I don't think it'll kill me. But it's not pleasant, and that's not the kind of thing you want to do when you're flying in the day that you have to teach. So we were flying in Thursday morning, and I was teaching Thursday night, I think. Right?
That was what we originally thought.
Oh, originally I was teaching Thursday night, but then they moved my class to Friday. Okay, so we get there, we get into our hotel, we flew in around noon or 1 o'clock, but we get to our hotel, and it's only 10 o'clock in the morning because... we went back in time. It's
so
2 hours
weird.
Early because we're from Florida and we went all the way to Utah, so it just goes back in the time zones. So we get there and I'm like, hey, listen, I know it's really early, but I'm hungry. You want lunch?
And we were like, yeah, because we actually drove to Orlando from Jacksonville, and then we went there and we flew out of there because the night before we stayed with my aunt.
Yeah.
And we flew from the Orlando airport, which I had never been to that I remember.
It wasn't that bad.
No.
It was easy.
And then, but yeah, when we landed, we were like, we're hungry, but
we're
it's
starving,
only 10 o'clock.
But it wasn't 10 o'clock, it was 12. So we got food, and then I was like, you know what, let's go to the festival today, even though I'm not supposed to teach today. Let's go, let's meet everybody, let's take a class. Because anytime I can get a class, I am down. So I was looking at the schedule, and I was like, Acia Gray, I want to take her class. I've heard so much about her. One of my dancers in rhythm theory, Andrea, she got to take the entire Tapestry Dance Festival last year. And I was like, oh man, I've got to take class from her. She just seems so my vibe. And yeah. So we went over there, and I finally met Wendy. Wendy Isaacson is the director of the Utah Tap Festival. She and I connected on TikTok because we both have this super radiant, positive energy about us. And obviously we both love tap dance. So we kind of just found each other and went, you're cool. You're cool too. Hey, I want to teach at your festival. Cool, I'll let you know. And then she tried to bring me in last year, and then I was set for it, but then she moved the date a week earlier because of something, and I was like, shoot, man, I can't come anymore because it got moved to the weekend that we were in Raleigh, North Carolina for one of our biggest gigs of the year, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't move it. And she goes, that's okay, I'll put you on for next year. So this was next year, and I finally get to meet Wendy in person, and she is as bubbly and sweet and wonderful as I imagined she would be, and we just kind of like clicked and hit it off, and I think it's just the radiating positive energy. Like when she and I were like in the same space, we just had a bubble of positive energy, and it was just wonderful. And okay, before I go any further into the tap classes, I gotta say, I get off the plane and they had someone come pick us up, and I'm just staring out the window with like a big grin on my face. Like, not even a grin, more like, and I'm just staring out the window. We get to our hotel. I get out of the car. I do a 360-degree turn, still staring with like this face. We get to the studio. I get out of the car, but I look to my right before I open the door. And a big grin. Why? Why did I have these grins on my face?
There was these things that were surrounding us.
Yeah.
They were like big old hills? Is that what they are?
I don't think they're called hills. I'm pretty sure they're mountains.
They were mountains.
No one told me how beautiful Utah was. Oh my goodness.
We were in a valley, and so it was just mountains, 360 degrees around us, and it was just like...
And all the mountains looked different. Like, one of them was like super beigey tan, and then the next one had like grass all over it, and then the next one had like snow at the top and looked kind of gray and rocky, and like it was the actual Rocky Mountains. I found out. So like mountains everywhere. And so in the middle of being somewhere for the purpose of doing my favorite thing on this planet, which is tap dance, I also get to see something I've never seen. I know some of you guys probably live among mountains and you're like, yeah, that's not that big of a deal. Guys, I live in Florida. Our closest mountain is the trash heap. Like, there's no such thing as mountains here.
One of the greatest things, though, is, okay, so, like, where our hotel was, we were really close to, like, an outlet mall, but then also, like, a little shopping center that had a bunch of different foods and stuff. But right at the light where we had to cross the street, you see her and I like this.
Yeah, we're just staring.
Just
like,
taking
with our
photos
phones.
and videos. And it's like, these people are probably like, hee tourists.
Yeah, but tourists don't usually go to that city. So it was probably, we were by a hotel though, so they knew. But like, I was enamored. I was in love. I was just stunned. Anyway, back to the festival. So we get there. I stare at the mountains for a few minutes, and then I walk inside and meet Wendy and all that. Then we take ACS class. Life-changing class. If you ever get the opportunity to take a class from Acia Gray, and I'll have her name down in the description, make sure that you take that class, because she hears music similarly to how I do. We're both musicians first. I was a musician before I was a dancer. So was she. She was a drummer. And the way she explains musicality made sense to me as a musician. And the way she explained, like, the same things that I talk about a lot, how one step can have multiple names, but it doesn't matter what you call it as long as you understand the technique. She, like, when she said that, I was like, yes, this, please. And she also emphasized tap history a lot in her class, which is very, very important. And I feel like I don't emphasize it enough in my classes, but it was nice to be in a class that mentioned the greats and mentioned why we need to know them, and really took that information and made it usable in the combination we were learning. I just thought that that was awesome. Did you enjoy her class?
I did. It was... Okay.
Sorry.
So I've been tapping for 7 years, 6 years, something like that.
Something like that.
And Jen's been my teacher. So I'm used to her style of teaching, and then I'm also like, I'm used to being told the step we're about to do, then showed it, and then explained it, and then repeat it multiple times. I'm not used to people who are like, all right, so you ready? We're going to go ba ba da da ba da ba da ba ba. And I'm like,
he's not used to scatting, and he's not used to just like being shown the step, but not broken down like what each piece is.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, what step is ba da ba da ba banana?
But as someone who's taken tap class at tons of festivals, I know there are a lot of teachers that teach that way. So I was fine. So what I did was I learned it from what I was watching and what I was listening to, and then I would quietly break it down for him, and that really just helped. And she noticed that I did that, and I thought she was going to be really upset because it could have been a little disruptive or made it look like I wasn't paying attention, but she actually really appreciated that I was doing that. So I appreciated that she appreciated it. Anyway, it was a truly wonderful class, and we didn't do much of a combination. Honestly, we didn't spend a lot of time tapping in that class. But we sure as heck spent a lot of time learning in that class.
There was a lot of, like, tap and music theory.
Theory and history. And it was just a life-changing class. And then I really enjoy her as a person. I think she and I also hit it off pretty well. And her wife, Deirdre, I absolutely, me and her at dinner, there was no one else at the table. Once she and I started talking to each other, it's like everyone else at the table just disappeared. I was just like, you're my bestie. So
yeah, I got to talk with Asia and Wendy a lot that night.
Yeah, because you were across from them because I was ignoring you guys and just talking to Deirdre. But yeah, great people.
She was really cool.
Wonderful class. And then from there, we went back to our hotel and we're just exhausted. Absolutely exhausted. I was going to stay for the improv competition that night and, like, I guess judge it or whatever. But honestly, I couldn't. I was exhausted. We had been flying since 5 o'clock in the morning, which was their time 3 o'clock. So it was like 9 by this point, which is 11 our time. And I'm like, man, I'm starving. Can we just like go get food? I don't even remember. We didn't get dinner. We got ice cream.
We did.
We didn't even get dinner.
We got lunch before we went to the studio.
Yeah.
And then we were like, our bodies were so off when we got out of her class and stuff. It was like almost.
It was 7:30.
And it would have been like 9:30 our time.
That's what I meant. It was 7:30 at the end of her class, and so we went back, and then it was like 8, and I was like, you know what? I just want something. I don't know. I'm just hungry.
We just got ice cream. Yeah.
Ice cream. Dinner of champions.
I think we got coffee.
We got coffee and ice cream.
Yeah.
And then it rained.
Oh yeah.
We had to run through a pouring rain.
And I'm just gonna throw this out there. We're from Florida, where it's always warm. So the rain is warm.
Yeah. Oh, this was freezing cold.
And it was like
rain.
Big old drops that were like.
I thought we were gonna be fine because it was like, it's just rain. We're probably the most used to it here.
But it was
freezing. So then we're soaking wet in the ice cream place, getting ice cream like idiots, honestly. But it was good. I had pistachio. You have banana and peanut butter.
Which, if you rewind back to her being allergic to peanuts,
it's fine. He can eat them as long as I don't eat them. I'm okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that night, I'm not even done with the first night. That night, and I will try to post the link to this in the description below. We didn't even watch TV or go to sleep right away. We didn't do our normal stuff that we usually do at night. No, what did we do? We stared out the window for hours. Why did we stare out the window?
Because there was an intense lightning storm. It was like
cool.
Heat lightning and actual lightning.
So lightning bolts, but also just flashes of heat lightning.
And so, like, with the amount of light that we could see, and then when the flashes were happening, you would see it behind the mountains. And
so the mountains were coming in, and they were
lighting up, and it was just like, oh.
We got some good video, and I made a short of it that we put on our vlog channel that we have together, Safety Scissors and Duct Tape. So I'll put that down below so you guys can check that out. It's just a 30-second video of slow motion lightning, but trust me, it is so cool. You should definitely check it out. They are not used to lightning storms in Utah because Wendy texted the whole faculty and was like, have you seen this lightning storm? And it's like 11 o'clock at night, by the way, when she's texting us this. But I was like, everyone else was like answering like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I was like, I guess no one's asleep. But for us, that was 1 a.m. So that's why I was in bed going, I want to go to sleep now.
And we'd been up since like 3:30, 4-ish in the morning.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I was so tired. Almost 24 hours awake. That was so bad. But anyway, so the next day, I didn't have to be at the festival until 5?
I think you taught at 5.
I taught at 5 or 6, so I didn't have to be at the festival until 4 or 5 because I like to be about an hour early. Of course, I think we got there like 2 hours early. So we decided to go for a hike that morning. Not just any hike, a hike up a mountain. So I got to like do things and see things that I've never seen before. I did my famous cartwheel picture at the pretty spot in front of like the whole valley with mountains in the background and a lake and everything. The hike was beautiful and I really, really enjoyed it. And somebody commented on one of my pictures going, did you go on a hike in Harley Davidson boots? And to that I had to answer, what else would I have worn? Because it's either that or platform boots. And I think I went with the safer choice.
I think so too. They have pretty good tread.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So.
the hike up the mountain was really cool because neither one of us ever really hiked a mountain.
Yeah.
So we got to see just over the city and everything, and it was really cool.
Yeah. And then ACO had the morning off as well, and she was like, she told us she was going to this place called Thanksgiving Point, which is like, it's got museums, it's got a garden, it's got all kinds of stuff, and like a zoo.
I think so.
Or something? A petting zoo? I don't know.
I don't know if it's
It's like livestock zoo. And she was like, you should go. And we're like, okay. So we get back from the hike, and I said, hey, I'm not hungry yet. Do you want to go over to Thanksgiving Point? And she goes, yes. Or he said, yeah, sure. Sorry. I was thinking about ACO.
They had already left.
They already left. And I was like, yeah, okay. And he said, yeah, okay. So we went, and it was all right. It reminded me a lot of Florida. So I wasn't super excited by it, but then we got hungry, and I was like, hey, there's a ramen place down the way. So we walked like 2 miles in the hot sun. It wasn't that hot. It wasn't Florida hot.
Like,
it was bearable. We barely even sweat. But
like we could feel that it was warm.
My skin was burning.
Yeah, like out here, if I would have walked even an eighth of that, I'd have been drenched and everything. But there, it was just like it's a little toasty.
Yeah, it's just a little toasty. So we walked past Utah Valley University. We walked past like all these really, really pretty buildings, and there's mountains everywhere, and it's just stunning. And then we go to this ramen place. And why is it important that I'm mentioning a ramen place? Because guys, I am a ramen snob. I love ramen. I've eaten ramen at almost every restaurant in almost every city. Not every restaurant, like it's not that bad. But I've eaten ramen in almost every city I've traveled to. I had the best ramen of my whole life in Lehi, Utah. The best ramen of my life. And then I found out why. So there's a really good ramen place, obviously, that I just said. There's also an African street food place, and there's a Mediterranean grill, and there's I think there was a Korean barbecue place, and there was a Brazilian steakhouse. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of international food for like the middle of the suburbs in Utah, of all places. And then this guy that we randomly spoke to, which we'll get to the friendliness of this whole community in a minute, but this guy that we randomly spoke to was like, oh, it's because they go on missions to all these exotic countries. The people that are from that area in general, they're all from like the same religion, so like a rite of passage for them is to go on a mission trip
for like 2 years.
And like I think Wendy's son's about to go to Korea, and her daughter went to Costa Rica,
I think so, or
Chile. She went to Chile.
Yeah.
And Chile. Help, how do you pronounce that? Anyway, so they absorb the culture while they're there, and then some of them come back and start a restaurant, and all the food is incredibly authentic, because it's not just somebody starting a restaurant of food like Asian fusion that like they sort of know how to cook. No, it's somebody that lived there and really absorbed the culture. And that's why the food was so good. The guy swore up and down about the African street food place. He was like, this is the best food I've ever had. There wasn't anything vegan, otherwise we would have tried it, but I believe him because the ramen was to die for.
I like ramen. I'll
not
eat
his
it,
favorite
but it's not my
food.
favorite thing. Like if it's the only thing there, I'll eat it. It's fine. But I was willing to have more of it.
I would travel to Utah again simply for that ramen. It was so good. Anyway, so that was our day, and then we go to the festival. I'm teaching a class that day, first class I'm teaching, super excited. Wendy decided that she wanted to theme my classes because she knows that my company, Noise Complaint, does like extra fun stuff when we tap. We dress as superheroes, Disney characters, and all kinds of stuff, and we put on full shows. And she goes, you really bring something unique to this festival. Why don't we capitalize on that and theme your classes? And I said, look, I'm down. And luckily she told me before I packed, because I was able to pack some costumes and like appropriate shirts. My adult class was themed Disney, and my kids / adults, the mixed class, the beginner class, was themed superheroes. So I was teaching my Disney themed adult class that night. We didn't take a class that day.
No, because we explored.
No, but we started to teach the class, and They were great. Oh my goodness. Everyone there is so nice. And everyone at this festival just loves tap. They just wanted to learn. They just wanted to tap. They were all levels, but they were super supportive of each other. They were like, oh, the people in the back can't see. Can we switch lines? And I'm like, oh, I love this. It wasn't even the people in the back asking for it. It was the people, like, in the front saying, like, oh, hey, it's time for us to move back. Can we? And I was like, yes, please.
And that was
please
the
rotate.
coolest thing to me because I had never really, because I don't go to tap festivals. I think that was my third one I've ever been to.
You've never really been in a giant dance class where that rotation has to happen.
And I was like,
yeah.
That's a thing? That's cool.
Yeah, so the environment was just wonderful, and I did use mostly Disney-themed music in the class, and then I taught them a little combination to one of Noise Complaints dances that we call Evolution of Disney. And I told them, embody a Disney character. And they all wore Disney t-shirts and Mickey ears, and they like dressed out for the class, which I thought was cute. I dressed as Wally for the class, and he wore his Black Panther / Lion King hybrid shirt.
Yes.
It's like the Simba drawing, but like Black Panther. So, everyone loved him. Everyone just absolutely loved him, and that made me really happy because he assisted my class by filming, doing the music, and also just like he went to the back rows and he ran the steps in front of them so that they had two people to watch, one in the front, one in the back. That's why I teach with an assistant. I also have a lot of options because a lot of classes are mixed level. So teaching with an assistant really helps facilitate the mixed level. I can say, hey, so if you're going to try the harder version, follow me. If you're going to try the easier version, follow him, or vice versa. And that helps me be a more effective teacher. So I did clear it with the festival to bring him as an assistant, and you were integral to me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And they really enjoyed you a lot. And it's so cute because Wendy would introduce us to people. She's like, oh, this is Jen, and this is her husband, Sean. They're newlyweds. And she was like super excited to tell people that we were newlyweds, and I'm like, oh, this is so cute.
Even when she announced later on something
in the show, she announced it. I'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, in front of everybody, she's just like, oh, and they're newlyweds.
Her energy was just
she's
pure.
Just happy,
it was
pure
joy.
Yeah, and she's really just happy for everybody around her, and I just love her. She's the sweetest. Okay, so that night. They do a student showcase, and they have all the faculty judging it, I guess, like giving comments, critiquing it. That's a great word. So they asked us to critique everybody's performance and give them constructive criticism. And so we're sitting there, we're watching. These kids are brilliant. The adults are brilliant. They're just beautiful tappers, and we were able to give really, really good critiques. Like, I would comment on people's. I want to say, like, I told a lot of them to relax. So 2 judges at a time, we would pass the microphones down. Like, I would do this piece, and then the next piece I would do would come up, like, 3 songs later because we would rotate which 2 people were talking. But my biggest comment is usually just relax your feet. Relax them. Because a lot of times they would just put a lot of tension in them because they're nervous. They want to get the step right. And my biggest comments of the day were musicality and relax. So I think that the panel went really, really well. It was a lot of fun to be on the panel with the rest of the faculty. I'll have all the faculty listed down in the description. And
all the faculty was so nice.
So sweet.
Like, I I'd heard of a couple of them, but like I said, I'm still newer to this.
You've heard of Sam Weber.
Yes, I had heard of him.
And you've heard of Star Dixon.
Yes.
Before.
And she's actually showed up on my TikTok, I think, before. Instagram.
Yeah.
But no, like, but they were super inviting.
You didn't know Brendan.
No, I didn't know Brendan, but he was really nice.
Yeah.
But they were super inviting, knowing that I was with you. But they treated me like I was one of them.
They treated him like he was one of the faculty, which I thought was really sweet. Although you were also really sweet to kind of sit back, not in the teacher row, and kind of like. I don't want to say know your place because that's not what I mean, but like you.
I wasn't brought there as faculty. I was there as an assistant.
I used to assist Anthony Locascio, and with things like this, that's what I would have done. I would have sat back a row. I would have been there in case he needed me for anything. I would comment to him maybe if I saw something. but I wouldn't assume that I was one of the faculty because I wasn't listed as one of the faculty. I was brought as his assistant. And so it is kind of a know your place thing, but I think it's being respectful of the difference between your place. I don't know. I want to share everything with you, so I would have been happy to have you next to me, but you really respected the other faculty by not just putting yourself in with them. So I was really appreciative of that.
So there was a curved area like this of where the faculty was sitting. I sat right here.
Yeah, it was like a curve like this,
yeah.
and he sat here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen was right here. But yeah, so like I was just sitting next to her and I got to talk with the faculty and stuff, but I wasn't like, give me the microphone, I want to talk too.
Yeah. So that was a student showcase. Brilliant, talented people. I was in awe, and at this point, I was actually starting to have imposter syndrome hit me really bad. Like, these kids were so good. I knew I had to perform in the faculty showcase the next night. And I was like, I can't perform in front of these people. They're so much better than me. Like, I know I'm a good teacher, and that's why I'm here, but I can't do some of the stuff that they're doing. And imposter syndrome just setting in hard on me. And I'm sorry, my computer decides to tell me on Sunday that I have work to do. No thanks. So, yeah, so that starts happening. That night, we ate fries for dinner the next night because we're doing really good on nutrition at this point. Literally, you had sweet potato fries. You had a burger.
I had a
burger. He
burger.
did good. I just had french fries. We went to this place called Strap Tank. It's like a old gas station converted into a really quirky restaurant, and they had Impossible Burger, and they had lots of vegan options, and
it looked like a carnival.
Yeah,
it's like old 1940s carnival
kind of run down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really, really cool, and I have pictures of it. I'll probably post on Instagram. So I'm just giving you like the day by day. The next day was probably my favorite day. So it's Saturday. The festival goes all day, not just at night, because Thursday, Friday, the festival started at 5, and there was only a few classes each night because obviously people work, right? So nighttime events only. Saturday, though, it's the whole day. We got there and took Brendan's class.
At like 10?
Yeah, like 10 o'clock or 11. No, it was 10 because we wanted to get soda, which we will talk about. So we get to Brendan's class. It's a wonderful class. I learned a few things that I definitely want to teach my students in the coming weeks. And that's one of the best reasons for a dance teacher to go to these things, to take workshop classes, go to festivals, is so that you can learn things to then teach to your students or like get new ideas. And I got some really, really good ideas from both Asia and Brendan. Those are the only 2 classes we had time to take because we were also just trying to enjoy Utah and like take it all in. And yeah, so that class was good. It was the adult class. It was like adult beginner, but I love beginner classes. I learned so much in beginner classes, and he suffered through an intermediate advanced class for me, so I figure a beginner intermediate class for you is probably more your speed of learning. Like, his feet are great. He's a fantastic tapper, but as someone who wasn't a dancer growing up, learning choreography is a struggle that you deal with. And we could do another vlog on how to pick up choreography. I can do another vlog on that. Let me know in the comments if you would like one. I think that's actually a great vlog topic, how to pick up choreography quick. Anyway, so we take class, and I don't teach until after lunch. Lunch, I'll get to... No, we'll talk about soda after everything. Okay, so we do what I'm going to talk about later, and then lunch. The whole festival gets into, like, carpools, right?
Everybody's car.
We didn't drive. Somebody drove us into American Forks Canyon. This is a canyon between 2 giant rocky mountains. And I'm sure some of y'all that live out there, you're like, yeah, so? I'm over here like, I am freaking out. I'm staring out the window. Our world is so flat. I posted a story on my Instagram showing the difference outside of the airplane window on the way back of this is what the mountains look like from up here to this is Florida, and it's just flat. So I'm over here like, oh my goodness, there's walls. It's like we're in a canyon, so there's like mountains this way, sorry. So we're going through here, it's up here. I'm freaking out in all the best ways. We go out there, they have lunch ready for us, and they did Subway for the teachers, which is great, perfect for vegans. We were fine. And then they also had like s'mores and stuff. I haven't had a s'more in years. Obviously, I couldn't have the chocolate part. Yeah, I couldn't have the chocolate part, but I totally had graham cracker with marshmallow in it. And I know that marshmallows are mildly not vegan, but I was willing to make an exception today or that day because I'm in the woods with tap dancers and I just wanted a treat. So we're all eating lunch together, chatting, talking. I'm talking to a lot of the adult students. One of them is from Ponte Vedra, which is right in Jacksonville. So I was like, what? Okay. She moved out to Utah, and she's like, you should move out here. And I'm like, I'm thinking about it. And then the coolest part, they had a drum set up and 2 tap boards. The tap dancers just got to improv with each other in the middle of a canyon. It was the most beautiful afternoon I could have ever hoped for. There was live drumming, live tap dance, and just mountains and waterfalls everywhere around me. I'm freaking out in all the best ways. And I decided not to tap for a few reasons. One of them, I don't know how many people on this channel know about my struggles with OCD, but OCD for me meant taking off my boots in the middle of the outdoors was a tricky thing. So I wasn't gonna tap, but I really enjoyed watching everybody else tap. It was so much fun. 2 of the faculty battled each other. It was Dante and Brendan. Yeah, and that was really fun to watch.
But mostly the kids were just going out there and just switching off, just tapping, just so to the drummer, and
the drummer was having a blast. So it was so great. What a unique experience, and hopefully that festival continues that experience because wow, insanely beautiful.
Also, it was the complete opposite of like when you're the new kid in high school, because like all these people have tapped with each other for years, either in the same studios.
Most of them knew each other.
Most of them knew each other, and then when we got our food from Wendy and her husband, I apologize, I don't remember his name. But we went and we were like, where do we sit? And because, it's that moment of...
which lunch table do you sit at?
And then all of a sudden, we hear, Sean, Jen, come sit with us.
Yeah.
Just this big old table, and they all just, like, shift so that they're like, here. And we're like...
It was really sweet, and everyone was just so nice. Everyone that we met in Utah was just the nicest person. And I don't mean that in like a... Yeah, they were nice. They were a good person. No, like, they were the most considerate, sweet, happy people I've ever met in my life. I fit in really, really well because I am so always just happy and nice.
This is just the icing on it, just to prove this. They were the nicest TSA agents I have ever met.
Oh my God, at the airport?
At the airport, excuse me.
And even the hotel staff.
Oh my
Every
gosh.
single person that worked at this hotel is our friend now. Like, everyone was so nice. And what makes me know that I was meant to be living in a place like that, like with that kind of community, is that they all thought I was the nicest person that they ever met. And I was like, thanks. I fit in here.
It was just so like heartwarming, just how open they were, just like, you're part of us now, you're a friend of ours, you're a family member, we're going to take care of you, we're going to look out for you. Like, they were like, what's it called, Wendy's daughter, when we were trying to figure out where to
go for a hike, she was like, oh, here's my number.
Yeah, she's like, give me your phone. And she's like, text me, I'll give you guys some ideas. And I'm like, I don't know you, but okay, thank you. Like,
yeah, she's so sweet.
Yeah.
But like I said, everyone was super, super nice. Okay, so after lunch in the canyon, we're sweaty, we're hot, but we're happy. We head right in.
Before we go there, sorry. So there was this rushing water river that was coming through.
Oh, yeah.
That was right by where we were. Now, we're from the Jacksonville area, where the water is what color, Jen?
Gray? Brown?
Kind of like the gray on here, on her shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brownish,
not
actually.
Yeah.
I want to make that. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I have, like, the color. Yeah. I do. Hold on. You can keep talking.
But yeah, it's like our water in this area.
It's like this color. That, like, darker part right there. As you can see, I'm a Trekkie, so there you go.
Where it looks like, you burnt coffee and just left it in there for months. But, like, our water is just horrible. This water was just crystal clear, just
see-through,
soft blue,
scentless.
And we went down to the area, and I was like, "Do you want to try to touch it?" And she's like, "We can."
I didn't know I could, but like I also didn't know if it was safe to touch because you don't put your hand in a body of water in Florida because there's gators in there. I touched this water, and first of all, it was freezing. Second of all, it was scentless. I was like, it doesn't smell like a pond. It was amazing. I felt like you could drink it. I didn't, but I felt like you could drink it.
Oh, you could.
You would have lived.
Because it's rushing water, so it's not stagnated.
Yeah.
So you could drink it. As a survivalist, I can tell you could drink it. But she goes, it's so cold.
Yeah, I had no idea.
It turns out it's because it's coming from where like the ice had been melting and just rushing through. It's
August and there was ice. I was floored. Anyway, so back to the festival. This video is getting really long. But back to the festival. I taught my second class. I only had 2 classes to teach the whole festival. The second class was the superhero theme. It had kids and adults in it. People went all out. They wore superhero costume shirts. We had capes, and other people had capes.
They had Ninja Turtle masks.
Somebody had a Black Panther mask and like the Black Panther claw thing, and he was like serious. And then this little kid had Captain America's shield, but also the Black Panther claw. And they had
the one lady had the Ninja Turtle mask.
Yeah.
One lady was talking about she almost wore her kids like Batman style shirt with the cape like I had, but yeah, it was.
We had a lot of fun, and I taught them one of Noise Complaints' Avengers dances. I taught them the Avengers cast recording of "We Didn't Start the Fire," but it's like all Avengers themed lyrics. So they learned that combination. My Disney class from the day before learned their combination, and they were going to perform it in the showcase that night. That was the other thing that Wendy set up. Not every class had stuff that they were going to perform in the showcase, but she asked if my class would, and I was like, that's great, that's awesome, let's do it. So we did. Then comes the showcase, and this was probably the toughest night for me because, as I said, imposter syndrome was getting me real hard, and I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to perform in front of these people. The way I tap is so different. It's so rock versus it's like a combination of musical theater, but also like rock and roll and just punk rock almost, like the style that I have and when I perform. And I just didn't want to disappoint anyone, I guess. And I was just like, I shouldn't perform. And he just kept encouraging me. And I'm glad that I did. I ended up choosing a song I didn't bring a costume for. So what we did, I only brought Alice in Wonderland because I was going to do a totally different dance. And then I took that dance and accidentally gave it to my adults to do. So I was going to do Evolution of Disney. And then my class did it. So I was like, oh, I guess we're not going to do that. And so I had to pick something else. I picked 4 90s, which if you've seen Noise Complaint Show, that's one of our Todrick Hall mashups of like a bunch of 90s music. It's really high energy, really, really fun. I was like, how am I going to make it so that Alice in Wonderland fits, like the Alice costume fits for me doing that? So we wrote him a little monologue to say right before I performed. So I'm back there. Wendy's like, and now, Jen and Sean, they're newlyweds. She says that announcing us to the whole audience, which I think is so cute. Because we're still excited to be newlyweds. So it's kind of cool that other people are. So he does this monologue saying, Alice fell down the rabbit hole and found herself in the 90s. And like, or whatever. It was longer than that. It was cool. And so I did this dance. This is where I had the most difficult time of my whole life. Never mind imposter syndrome. Never mind the fact that the costume didn't match the song. Whatever. No one warned me how thin the air was up in Utah. I had not really noticed all weekend. But here we are. I could barely make it through a 3-minute dance. And this is a very high energy dance too, but if you've ever seen me in a Noise Complaint Show, you know I perform every dance for the entire hour. There's not one dance I'm not in any show. For reasons. Mostly I want to be in all the dances.
She goes from dancing to acting to dancing to
dancing,
acting.
So I'm constantly using oxygen. I'm constantly speaking to dancing to speaking to dancing. I couldn't make it through a 3-minute dance. I got to 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and I really thought I was going to pass out. I thought I was going to have to, like, stop and, like, just double over and on stage in front of everybody. Miraculously, I somehow made it through, but I ran off stage, ran into the hall, and just couldn't breathe. And I didn't realize that was a thing. I didn't realize it was going to be this difficult. And I would have picked a much less cardio heavy song. I didn't know.
Now, for reference, where we were in Lehigh, it's about 4,400 feet above sea level. And where we live in Florida, it's about 100.
It's less than, I think it was 75 feet above sea level.
At most,
we're basically at sea level, and then so take us 4,000 feet higher. That's also why we sunburned like crazy, because we're way closer to the sun. I also didn't know that.
We were walking across the street, and I was talking to her, and I was like, why am I winded?
Makes you think that you need to like up your cardio game.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to admit this. I'm like,
we weren't used to it. Everybody else that was there came from different altitudes, like higher altitudes. Even the people in LA. LA is a higher altitude, barely, but higher. Where we live, we're at sea level, and I was born in Jersey. Never mind, but I was like raised from 4 years old to now in this state, like. I'm a sea level girl. My lungs are sea level lungs. I had such a hard time. So my biggest piece of advice to anyone still with me on this very, very long vlog, if you're traveling for a tap festival or a convention or something, really pace yourself and know that there is a difference in how your body reacts to altitude.
And if you can, give yourself an extra day. Just to get used to the air difference and things like that.
And train a little bit. Like, I would have trained, but I didn't know.
No one was like, hey, guess what? We're
and I wouldn't have picked that dance. That's probably one of the most cardio-heavy dances that we do. It's just nonstop high-energy tapping. And so anyway, I get off stage. I perform with my classes. I manage to, like...
She's, like, gasping for air while I'm helping her get out of her Alice and then get
into the superhero costume. But I make it on stage. We perform. Everything goes well. And then at the end of the festival, we did the Shim Sham, which was so much fun. And then there were all these, like, confetti poppers that we popped. It's cool, the coolest picture. If you were on my Instagram, you saw it. The absolute coolest picture ever. It's, like, all of us, like, super happy. And then these confetti streamers and then we all went out to dinner, hung out with the faculty.
The faculty, yeah.
And, the next day we didn't fly out until late. So we had all day to just keep hiking and exploring and enjoying the food, except we didn't realize that everything would be closed, including the soda shop we wanted to get back to. But let's go ahead and get into the soda shop thing. Go ahead.
You guys.
Sorry.
I've discovered, on my own, the greatest place ever. No, they have these shops, and we're like, it was called, like, Fizz is the one that we went to.
Yeah, I looked in it. I was like, it looks like it just sells soda. That's so
we were
odd.
Like, okay.
Like, what kind of place would just sell soda?
We were like, all right, cool. And then later on, we were like, we need a drink, so well, let's go to there.
We went over to this place called Fizz.
On
we
Thursday.
Go inside. Yeah. There's soda on the menu. All kinds of different flavors. They have different names. There was, like, the Miami Ice instead of Miami Vice. There was, like... the Chester Cheeto, but it didn't have Cheetos in it. It was just, like, Mountain Dew with, like, orange, like, color or something. There's drinks that involve Monster, energy drink. And it's just soda.
With a bunch of flavoring, different flavor things.
I tried something called a strawberry cupcake. It was Sprite, strawberry, and vanilla syrup. So Sprite, strawberry syrup, vanilla syrup. It was so good. It was ridiculously good.
I don't remember the first one. I got the Monster one, but...
It was Monster Green Apple.
That was the second one.
That was the second one?
The first one, it was like...
it was like mango and strawberry.
And pineapple and something, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a pina colada.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
But with a Monster.
With a Monster in it, which he desperately needed that Thursday. Because that was the day that we were, like, not doing well.
And it was inexpensive.
It was $1.65 for a medium. And, like, the Monster drink was $3. It was an entire can of Monster, 32 ounces, with syrup in it. Imagine that. And then they sold popcorn. And churro nuts.
It was like a churro and a donut that...
Yeah, it was a churro donut, which we tried, even though it was like, I think it had egg in it. It didn't have dairy, though. I was like, I've got to try this. Like, at some point in my life, I definitely just need to try it. I've never even tried a churro in my life. So I tried it, and I was like, I see the appeal. These are good. I just had, like, a little bite.
But this was, like, the greatest place.
It was so cool. Like, we don't drink. So we would love a place like this to say, hey, you want to go get drinks with our friends?
Yeah.
Let's go to the soda bar to get drinks with our friends, because we can't go to like a bar. We'll just sit there watching all of our friends buy drinks, and we're not going to do it.
Thanks for the Diet Coke.
Yeah, thanks. $4 Diet Coke. And then there's actually a place in Jacksonville that serves like kava drinks, which are non-alcoholic, and we're like, oh yeah, we found a place to go have drinks with our friends. He's allergic to kava, it turns out.
Found that out.
Found that out the hard way. He's okay now. But so this presented this really, really cool opportunity to go out for drinks with our friends, even though we don't drink normal style adult drinks. Turns out the people in that area, as part of the religion that they all practice, they don't drink. That's why these soda shops are a big thing in Utah. We need to bring one to Florida. Like, if you have been to a Fizz or a Swig or any of these soda shops, please tell me what you think of them, because I am in love. Like, I got to have Sprite with all these different flavors. I got to try one of the Mountain Dew ones, and I don't even like Mountain Dew, but with the flavors, oh, it was so good. So yeah, we were just in love with that. Is there any other part of the trip, now that it's a 45-minute video, but is there any other part of the trip that you really, really loved?
Just the overall vibe of the entire place was just incredible. Just, it felt happy.
Yeah, and the students.
Yeah, every store we went to.
Oh, every store we went to, there was nobody mad to be in customer service. They were all just super
excited to help,
happy and excited to meet new people that walk into their store. Like the people at Hot Topic, I needed a hat, and there was a Hot Topic right across from our hotel. So I go over there, and they were just super helpful with me and just sweet. And the students at this studio, they were volunteering their time as like drivers for the faculty. They were the nicest people I've ever spoken to, and very talented, by the way. So Wendy, you are doing wonderfully with these students. They are just brilliant, amazing, and just good people. So I think my favorite part of the weekend was the canyon, was getting to share stories and just vibes, really, with tap dancers from all over the place in probably the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life. I had no idea Utah was going to be this beautiful. I know I may seem like a sheltered person being in Florida my whole life or whatever. I have traveled a lot of places in the world. I've traveled most of Europe. I've traveled the Caribbean. I've been to South America. I've been to a lot of the U.S. As far out west as I've been is Las Vegas, but other than Las Vegas, I kind of stopped at like Ohio, Kentucky, so I hadn't really been out west yet. I didn't know how beautiful it was. This area in Utah is probably the most beautiful place I've ever been, just above Israel. I would say it's more beautiful than Israel.
Oh, wow.
And I saw some beautiful things. On my Facebook, if you look at my Israel, like, photo albums, you can see some of the beautiful places that I've been. This place tops it all. I had no idea. So being in this canyon with this running waterfalls and a drum set and tap dancers and
food.
Food
and marshmallows. Over a fire.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Wendy, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to come back sometime. Please. Anytime you'd like to have us, I will clear my schedule, except that one gig in Raleigh. I cannot clear that. But anything else, I will clear my schedule, and I will be there. That was amazing. If you guys are looking for a great tap festival to go to, I cannot recommend this one enough. I have been to Big Apple Tap Festival, Tap City, SoFlo Tap Fest, Tampa Bay Tap, Dunedin Tap Festival. I've been to one in North Carolina. I don't remember the names of everything. This one I want to go to it every year. It was absolutely amazing.
Worth the flight?
Stunning. Worth the flight. Absolutely.
That's a
I know.
big
And that's a
compliment.
big thing for me to say, because I don't like to fly at all. If you guys have any questions about the festival, or if you want to tell me things about Utah or another place out west that we should visit just for fun, please comment down below. Thank you for sticking with us for this super long vlog. I'm so sorry, but I did have a lot to say. Yeah. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button and join the Tap fam. We have vlogs like this, most of them not nearly this long. We have choreography tutorials, step tutorials, technique exercises, challenges, all kinds of stuff on this channel. It's all free tap resources, and it's all for you. The best way to support this channel is to subscribe. So please, please subscribe. Get your students to subscribe. I promise everything on this channel is family friendly. Get your friends to subscribe. I'm trying to hit the next milestone soon. I'm giving myself 1.5 years to hit it. It's a pretty long way away, but the more of you guys that subscribe, the better it gets. So yeah, help me hit that goal. And yeah, don't forget to also hit the thumbs up because Utah is beautiful. And if you've never been out there, hit the thumbs up because just trust me, that is beautiful. But if you want to see pictures, they're on my Instagram. All that information is down below. And yeah, did you have fun?
I had a blast. Thanks for having me on the trip and here talking to them.
But yeah, so thank you for joining us. And as always, thank you for dancing with me.